That's coffee's too hot, so. Alright guys, so this is the video that I'm planning on doing 2 of these videos. There's one by Dead by Daylight, one for Paladins, because I am adding more Dead by Daylight videos to the repertoire. And one thing that I want to talk about, I love this game because it's very similar to Paladins. I am in Kill Your Friends right now, just because Kill Your Friends has all the perks revealed. That's going to be very important for what we're talking about. I want to talk to you today about card synergy, and I think this is something very important. What card synergy is it is how combinations of cards go well together. An example of this is certain perks on certain characters go better than on others. I am working on my killer, by the way, to show off the killers. I don't spend my blood points or anything, but I am coming off a 7-in-a-row win streak. 1 game on Trapper, 1 game on Wraith, 1 game on Nurse, 1 game on Leatherface, 1 game on Doctor, 1 game on Huntress, and 1 game on Clown. With just, I forget who the other person was, with just absolutely killing. Everyone in the match died. I went 7-0 with 4 deaths in every game. And I am happy with that performance, but the only reason why I did that, I normally let people go because I'm a survivor player, is because I message people beforehand. I really only play killer to get quests done and stuff like that, but it wouldn't let me. They didn't wanna work with the quest I needed. It's like I had a game earlier this week. I let all 4 people go because I said, I need you to step in the bear traps and you can go. Step in the bear traps, y'all can go. They're like, yeah. They came, they step in the bear traps, and they go. Then they kept fucking around at the end, so I just kept laying down more bear traps for them to step in until they left. But no, I had somebody that's like, look, I just need to hit you with shock therapy. Just let me hit you with shock therapy. I will stand on the other side of the map. I won't be anywhere near you. Let me hit you with shock therapy 4 times. They're like, no. Okay, fine. You're all gonna die. No, you're not. You're a fledgling killer. Well, they all died. So looking at this, I am tempted to go over to Kill Your Friends. I want to talk about how card synergy works. Yeah, I think I actually will. I will go over to Survive with Friends, because I don't really want to work on Killer right now. Killer is not my strongest suit. We'll go to We'll go here. And I hate the loading times in this game. My apologies for this. This is the disadvantage to not editing. So looking at how every character works. Every character, when you do this, they have a bio on what their skill set is, but that's not actually what their skill set is, believe it or not. And I want to talk today about building your characters right now. I have all of my survivors, because I play all of the survivors. I have all of them at 20 or 21, and I work on it where no matter who I play, the blood points are going towards whoever needs to be leveled up. I think right now I'm working on Adam. And the blood web gets harder and harder the higher up you progress. So that is why. Oh shoot. Sorry. I have coffee. I have coffee. I have coffee. Oof. That is weird. I don't think I like that coffee mix. Anyways. So, looking at how each of these people, you would imagine, like, if you look at this, so Dwight he's able to locate allies and increase their effectiveness. Believe it or not, Dwight is actually better off as a generator specialist. See, I basically put people into several categories. So, an example is somebody who excels at working on and repairing generators. Obviously, it'll be people like Fengman and Detective Tap. But other people fit into that very well. Dwight fits into that very effectively. David King fits into that role very effectively. Those are your best people for working on generators. Then your next thing are your healers. These are people that are very good at being able to both heal themselves and heal other players. They have the tools to just rapidly do that. The Claudette, obviously, and Quentin, obviously. Those are your two best healers, but there are some other decent options on healer. Adam, I don't think is a good option. I don't like auto dictate, or whatever the hell it is. I'm not a fan of that card. So I'm not including Adam in that. Then you have people who are very good at unhooking. They are very good at what I like to call killer sabotaging. So this is someone like Jake, who sabotages the environment. This is someone like Adam, where they specialize in like unhooking people. This is someone like Tap, who is able to, if you leave him alone for long enough, he's gonna make you pay. Those are examples of people who are very effective at sabotaging. I'm tired, my apologies. Sabotaging the killer. Another thing that y'all want to look at are your distractions. Distraction characters are Meg. Distraction characters are Lori. Distraction characters are Kate. And distraction characters are Nia. They are very good for evasion. And very good evasive characters are very good at distracting a killer. You do not know how many times I've had one person just literally go up to the killer, run around the killer. The killer's so enthralled with trying to kill that one person, we get 4 generators done. And by the time he finally does kill that person and hooks them, we're halfway through the last gen with someone at an exit gate. And it just becomes, finish the gen, whoever's on the gen goes to unhook them, and the other person's opening the exit gate. Like, literally, you don't know how many times evasion comes in. So there are different roles of killer. Now of survivor. Now what does card synergy have to do with any of this? I want to start with David King. David King is probably the best example of this. Looking at David King, I'm using my personal perk list, by the way, as an example. Looking at David King's kit, I generally run 2 different types of builds. And I do think that you want to run builds based off of, like in Paladins, and I will be doing the card synergy video for Paladins next, but I want to talk about good card synergy. One of the examples of good card synergy on David King is looking at what his personal perks are. So I run Dead Hard, I run We're Gonna Live Forever, and I run No Misser. So what I would do is I would swap out Unbreakable with No Misser. There's no real point to having Unbreakable and No Misser together. If you are trying to run a full, what I call an Iron Man build, you're gonna take out We're Gonna Live Forever and you put on Unbreakable. And this is a very important thing. See, one of the things on Unbreakable people don't realize is the fully recover from the dying state once per trial is not great. That's not the reason why you run that. It's more for increases your recovery speed by 15%, which will stack on No Misser, which allows you to fully recover from the dying state. Remember, David King plays a very aggressive style. He is, if you're playing all of his critical perks, he is injured out of the gate, but there is an advantage to that. So No Misser is very strong because of the fact you can stack it with Resilience and Dead Hard on top of Unbreakable. Dead Hard is pretty much always active because you start the match injured. So this allows you to, basically, I use it mostly to avoid Stage 3 Michael Myers or any of the Chainsaw Killers. If no one escapes death is active, anything with an exposure, I basically use Dead Hard as a way to get away from that, tapping X at the last second. So Dead Hard and No Misser stack very well, and that goes towards the design of the character. The character is designed to be injured. Unbreakable stacking on No Misser means that he is a lot more, he has a lot better chance of recovering on his own. So that's good. Resilience is a key perk. I have purple resilience, and that's incredibly important because you have to realize that David King on this build, okay, I wouldn't have the med kit here. This is my alternate build that I normally run. I really only run the No Misser build when I'm with a competent team who can unhook me. I don't really trust it to randos because you don't know how many times I've seen just random people working with the killer. So this is good when I talk about card synergy. Resilience is a very rare perk. A lot of people say, oh, it's shit because you've got to be injured in order to get the value of it. Well, there's a difference between injured perks. Okay, now let's start. An example of an injured perk. This is not happening is not a good perk. The great skill check success zones are 10% bigger when you're injured. That is not a perk that you want. Okay, you are better off on resilience because your whole objective is to get through that thing faster. If you fail skill checks, this doesn't help you because the skill check zone is not increased, just the great skill check zone. So you're talking about going from here to here. No, it's not that valuable. And yes, you can say, well, the great skill check does help you better. Really, this is not happening, is only effective under two situations. If you're running no Mither, and so you're always injured, or if you're going up against the Hag, where you have that skill check that you have to hit the great skill check in order to not regress the generator, the ruin one. Right? Other than that, this is not happening, is not very good. We're Gonna Live Forever is a very strong perk because of the fact it lets you get more blood points and power you up, but it's not a must-have type perk. But this is the build that I normally run. I don't run no Mither on this build because generally I can get a similar effect. Once I get injured for the first time, I'll usually get injured trying to take somebody off of a hook. And then my objective is I can use Dead Hard to break line of sight. I can stay out of sight long enough, and then Resilience will kick in, and I'll have Resilience active, and that'll let me regen pretty quick. Things that I do not like are abilities that have cooldowns on them. I don't like certain perks with cooldowns. I think Dark Sense is incredibly powerful. I love Dark Sense over Deja Vu. I'm not really a fan of Deja Vu because I have a very easy time finding generators, whereas I like being able to have a reveal on the killer. So that to me, I like Dark Sense, but it's not something I would run on this particular build, but you'll see it on a lot. Kindred, I'm not really a fan of. When I'm on a hook, everybody sees me anyways. Kindred basically reveals one random survivor to everybody else. I don't really... it's a strong perk, but it's not really that strong. It's only when you're on the hook as well, so the amount of time that you can use it is pretty limited. Left Behind, it's only if you find yourself being the only person alive. It's good on characters that tend to stay sneaky and stealthy. I think it's good on Lori. I think it's good on Jake. It's not really good on a bunch of other people. A lightweight, I'm not a fan of that. As a killer, I don't really use the foot chase marks to track people down. The reason why I'm getting better as a killer is because I play Survivor so much. What would I do if I was a Survivor? Okay, that didn't work. What would I do if I was a dumb Survivor? Okay, hide in a locker from the start of the match for no apparent reason. Great job. So I don't really like that perk. I think Plunder's instinct is strong, but again, that goes with card synergy. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Slippery Meat, it's not effective at this lower tier. If you can get it up to the top tier, where you get 4 extra escape attempts on the hook, that's pretty much the value of that card. You just have to realize this is what I like to call a deliverance perk. An example of a deliverance perk, if we go to Adam Francis, and we look at your kit, Adam, is Deliverance. Deliverance is only effective on that one time. And Deliverance can screw you over. I know it screwed me over. Because if you do not get that survivor off the hook before you get hooked, you're fucked. Deliverance is useless to you. So it's great if you can get off the hook. If you can't get off the hook, you're screwed over though. Now this is what I run on him. I'll run Deliverance, I run Diversion, I run Self-Care, and I run Unbreakable. And you see that I like running Unbreakable because on that off chance that somebody leaves me alone and I can actually get myself back up, that's good. Unbreakable and Self-Care have very good card synergy as well. Because, remember, if you are able to recover yourself, it means the killer is not near you 9 times out of 10. I don't know what killer is gonna down you and let you recover while they are watching you. Most killers are like, okay, okay, so you're downed. Maybe they go off and chase this person. Like, I'm just gonna, they're gonna come back, they're gonna pick you up, and they're gonna hook you before you can recover. But if they're stupid enough to run away, then these two cards go together very well, because, so you're gonna recover, you're gonna run around a corner real quick, and you're gonna self-care. Now, another example of card synergy that I want to talk about, does refer to self-care, which we'll do for Claudette. I'll show that off. Diversion is a nice perk. It's hard to do. It is really hard to use. You never want to use it around a generator. Plain and simple. If you're near a generator, don't do diversion. If I ever see a killer fall for that, I fall out of my chair laughing. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? The generator's right there. Obviously, they are on a generator. It's pretty effective. Sending it the exit gator open, it's pretty much useless. Diversion basically just reveals the opposite direction where you are in that situation. Where diversion is effective is if you are in a chase. If you are in a chase and you can then stop and crouch and throw the diversion. Like, if you're able to break line of sight just long enough for you to stop, crouch, and then throw it. I love that they say, well, not in a chase. That becomes very important, where I'm saying, oh, use it after a chase. Yes, because you do get this little disclaimer at the bottom that says, escaped. That's your cue. Crouch, throw.
Peak meeting! Omaha! Hot distraction!
No. It's not going to work out in a lot of situations. But then again, that's smart killers. I've run into stupid killers that literally, I was standing right in front of them, I would throw the distraction, and they would not care. They would not care about me. They're like, oh, distraction! Oh, squirrel! But Deliverance is a good perk. I'm not a fan of auto deck date. I'm not pronouncing that, sorry. The fact that you start it with a progression penalty for skill checks to healing people, and yes, it does, you do increase your healing in the long run. I'm not really a fan of it just because the fact I run self-care, so I can just, if I'm healing somebody with a med kit, I just heal them faster. Even though it, you know, benefits me, like, I don't care. I have self-care. Fuck you. Dark Sense is something that's very good. I used to run Dark Sense until I actually got Unbreakable, but because of the card synergy, I prefer to run these two. Now, if I'm going for a Gen Rush, I will take out Unbreakable and I will put in Dark Sense. Other things, Hope is not effective because, again, this is as soon as the exit gates are powered. Like, no. You have to understand, the exit gates, in my games, the exit gates get powered about 50% of the time. 40% of the time. I'd say 40% of the time. Yeah. No, that's not helpful. Another thing is No One Left Behind. I'm not really a fan of that. We're Gonna Live Forever is better in my opinion, because here's the thing. So, A, this has the caveat that once the exit gates are powered, which again, when the exit gates are powered, your objective is get people off of hooks, get jigsaw traps off your head, get the fuck out of there. Don't worry about this, don't worry about anything else, just go. I'm not one of those people that's gonna stand around and troll the killer. I will leave teammates behind that troll the killer. Let's go. Get the fuck out of here. We're all here, let's go. Get in the car. Get in the car! I will drive off without you. Get in the car. That's how I am. And it's like, the altruism category, you know, like healing and unhooking and stuff like that. You get more blood points for stuff like that, and you perform them quicker. The real reason you run that is because you perform them quicker, but not the blood points. But it's not really better. Same thing with Will Make It. Most killers in this game camp, or most killers in this game have enough recognition to say, that person's injured, let me go whack him. So Will Make It isn't really as helpful. For each survivor you rescue from a hook, you get maximum healing speed. For one thing, it has a cooldown on it. And I do call that a cooldown, because it's a timer on it. And I don't like cooldowns. I don't like cooldowns, I don't like timers. Like, that's why Premonition has a cooldown of 45 seconds. I don't like that. I don't do cooldowns on that card. It has to be something incredibly valuable, like Distraction. See, Distraction is something I have to earn, or Diversion. I call it Distraction. Get over it. Diversion is something I have to earn. I have to be in the killer's terror radius while not in a chase for 45 seconds to get that unlock. On this, it's activated time, but once I use it, I gotta wait 45 seconds to use it again. This is the wrong game for that type of shit. So, we do have, I want to talk about the I don't know if I have resilience on her kit. I do not have resilience on Claudette's kit. What about on Meg? Do I have resilience on Meg? This right here is an example of a bad loadout. Okay? I'm gonna tell you why. So I have self-care, and I have resilience. These two cards do not go well together, because when you are in a chase, you basically are making a build around one or the other. When you're in a chase, and you end the chase, you escape somehow, your goal is different based off of what you're running. If you are running something like self-care, then your goal is to heal yourself. I almost dropped the remote, goddammit. Then your goal is to heal yourself. When you are running resilience, your goal is to get away. Now, unfortunately, there's just not a lot of good perks on Meg. So I had the two together. Would take Unbreakable in there. I don't think I could swap out Plunderer's Instinct because I don't really have anything else. I'm not a fan of Quick and Quiet because of the fact that it only happens once every 30 seconds. So if I'm in a chase and I'm vaulting, it's kind of hard for me to do that. The Slippery Meat, we already talked about that. I'm not a fan of Spine Chill. It's a weird combination to me. You know, it increases my chance of a skill check, it reduces my chance of completing them, but it doesn't increase me enough. Resilience and self-care don't go well together because if you are injured, your goal is to either heal yourself or work on a generator. Having the two together makes no sense. If you don't have self-care on a character, which I don't have self-care on a bunch of my characters, then you run resilience. Because if you are injured, you want to, okay, I'm going to die, but I'm going to get this generator done. I'm going to die, but I'm going to get this done first. And it does boost your healing speed, healing yourself if you're injured. So it is helpful for that. If you got self-care, don't run resilience, because your goal is going to be to heal yourself so you can take another whack. But this is not happening, it's just horrible. I'm sorry. I like Adrenaline. Now, this is a situation of a card that comes in very clutch for me, even though your chance of using it is so fucking ridiculous. Now, the reason why I like this card so much is the amount of times that I have been downed near the exit gate. The exit gate gets powered, the killer runs up ahead to go kill one of the people that are trying to escape, and I am instantly healed from the down state to injured. Because of the fact that they opened the exit gate. And I can just run the fuck out of here. Bye, guys. Like, Adrenaline is so helpful. I had this happen to me before, where I was in the middle of healing myself with self-care. I had just broken off a chase. Someone powered the exit gate, and I'm like, oh, let's go. I don't have to burn my med kit. Bye. It is so helpful. If you are in the dying state and your teammates can distract the killer long enough while the exit gate, so the exit gate can get open, you're up. And you don't have to worry about it. And it works well with self-care because if the killer has run away from you, you can self-care. If you don't want to run out, if you can't run out of the exit gate because they're, you know, over at the exit gate, obviously, then you can heal yourself and wait for him to go away. Because it only kicks in when the exit gate is open. Not a fan of Hope. I just don't like the type of the constant sprint ability. For me, I don't like Sprint Burst because it causes me to be exhausted. And that's the problem for me. I don't mind on Dead Hard because I'm using Dead Hard for the damage reduction that it gives me. Like the damage immunity from that hit. So I can just go, eh! They whack me, eh! I just run away and go, ah! We run away. This is this grunting fest. This injured guy running away, and this killer that's trying to kill him. Yeah, just ignore it with Dead Hard. I'll take the exhaustion afterwards because I'm still going to keep running. I'm still going to be in a chase. On Sprint Burst, my problem is I'm going to be running away. It helps me run away faster, but now I'm tired. And if I can't use that Sprint Burst to get away from the killer, I'm kind of screwed. So that's an example of card synergy going well together as well. If you can run Dead Hard and Sprint Burst, that's incredibly effective. Another example I want to talk about is Quentin and Ace. Quentin and Ace have a good example of card synergy. So, Quentin has Pharmacy. So this is, you are guaranteed a green medkit on your first chest search. You reduce the noise and range that you can be heard while going through a chest, and you open chests so much faster. You want to run Plunderer's Instinct with that. You want to run that. Because the more you can find those chests, the more you can do that. Because you can basically run around the map, find chests, you're going to be the fastest one to open them, you're going to be the quietest one to open them. He plays better than Ace in terms of finding loot. And it's basically, he finds loot and he can call out for the rest of your team, hey, this is here, this is here, this is here. This is a character that really doesn't need self-care, believe it or not, because of the fact that he can always find, with Plunderer's Instinct, the first time you go into a game, I can go into a game with no items. As long as I find a chest, I have a green medkit. That's 2 self-heals, right there. I'm not a fan of Wake Up, by the way. Wake Up is not great. It's great for you if you have to open the exit gates the 10% faster, but it's not. The range on the reveal is not great. Vigil is very strong. I really like Vigil. But personally, you look at Ace. Ace just has shit cards. They really just... You have to look... You have Ace in the hole, which... This is nice, because it gives you better loot. You have Up the Ante, which, okay, this is nice. You have to realize one thing on Up the Ante, though. Okay, so if you max this at, this is purple Up the Ante. You get a 9% bonus to luck to all remaining survivors when there's 3 people left. Here's the problem with that. You do realize your chance of getting off the hook at base value is 4%. So you're going from 4% to 13%. That's not great odds, unless you're running Slippery Meat with it. Plunderer's Instinct, because Plunderer's Instinct, again, that goes very well with Ace in the hole. And then you have Open-Handed, which I literally run because I don't have anything else I like to run. I'm not a fan of Spine Shell, I'm not a fan of Premonition. I'm not a fan of Hope, I'm not a fan of Lightweight. Gave me cards I don't like. Deja Vu, I don't have a problem finding generators, so it's not helpful. And then the last one is Small Game, which... This is an interesting one because it's like Premonition, but it has a smaller cooldown on it and a smaller range. And it works on traps as well, like hag traps and things like that. I just don't like the fact that, okay, if you're at that close of a range, you don't need, if you're within 8 meters, by the way, you don't need to fucking know that the killer's looking at you, because the terror radius is going off. Like, if this is a stealthy, if it's like the Wraith or somebody like that, or the Pig, yeah, but the Wraith and the Pig, at that close of a range, you can fucking see them. Like, no. So I have no choice but to run Open-Handed. Now, Open-Handed is great with Empathy. Open-Handed is great with Bond. If you can get that as a teachable perk, if you're a Dwight main and you want that as a teachable perk, get it. Because you can just you can increase the aura of Empathy, of Bond, of any of those things that have a reveal on them. They're kind of good on Object of Obsession. I don't really want to go into any other details, but that's just an example of card synergy of when you run perks together, how you want to run them together. I'll do Lori. We'll end it on Lori. But this is another example of card synergy right here. She's interesting. But damn, I think it downgraded. Yeah, I had a purple resilience. This last one just downgraded that. Shit. That's the only reason I ran that. That sucks. Good, we just had the seasons setting. That's why I'm not at 12. I was at 12. I was at 12 and a half, technically. And then, it dropped my rank back down to 15 again. That sucks. They dropped my purple resilience. That's the only reason I had it there, was I had purple resilience. But all of our perks work very well together. Another thing, Object of Obsession is very good. But Object of Obsession with Dark Sense is not a good combination, by the way. Just to let you know. Because I have seen people running that, and I want to mention that. This and Dark Sense don't go well together. Do I have an offering I can put on her? Yeah, oh god. All these offerings I can put on her. Alright, well, thanks for watching, guys.